Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we're back.
There's like nonstop conversation going on.
Absolutely, we're all talking.
Desiree and over here, we're talking PC Mac over here, and I'm like, I'm a PC guy. I've been a PC guy forever, and she's like, I was the same way, but I went back.
Once you go Mac, you never go back. I'm gonna tell you that right there. Once you go Mac, you never go back.
My point was that, having ran an IT company for 15 years, there's nothing I can't fix, nothing I can't do on a PC, and really fast.
The great thing about a Mac, it never breaks.
Yeah, I hear that. It's a lie. I was in the industry. They do break.
I know. Let me tell you. So I grew up in the technology field as well, Joe. I had a company all throughout Latin America, had 18 offices. We were the original implementer of IBM systems, the old IBM mainframes, et cetera, et cetera. We morphed into the PCs. Let me tell you, about 5 years ago, I switched over to Mac. I still have my original MacBook. I've got the new MacBook Pro. I've got the MacBook Air. I've got everything associated with it. And everything I do from a corporate perspective, by the way, within Willow Bend, is all PC. And I have seamless integration between the both of them. But I will tell you this. I call more often on my PCs than I never call on my Macs. I will tell you that just from a serviceability standpoint.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
And my comment off air with Desiree was, I said, my biggest hurdle was I don't want to have to relearn. I can do anything I want to do quickly on a PC, period. Right? So why relearn? Huh?
You sound just like a realtor.
So, however, having said that, I'm like, PC is working really hard to make me a Mac user because of Windows 8.
Windows 8's had.
I hate Windows 8.
I'm going to do a big confession, Joe. When I got my Mac and switched over 2 years ago, I was so nervous about the learning curve, and I was like having heart palpitations. I pulled it out of the box, and my business wife was already a Mac user. I kid you not, I called her and going, oh my God, how do I turn this on? So I understand that fear. So
well, you know what? This goes back for me to high school. This is how crazy it is. When I first sat in a computer lab, and I knew PCs already when as a kid, up one side and down the other, and I took a Mac class because I wanted to learn Apple. And my first experience was, okay, I'm programming, saved on the floppy disk. How do I get the floppy out?
Oh, no.
I'm like, where's the eject button? There's no eject button. You have to hit Control and eject on the key. I'm like, okay, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And from that day forward, I hated Mac. But they've done a lot to win you back on it. They've got great products. I can't, knock them.
Well, most things are most apps now are for mobile. So I think everyone's migrating to mobile stuff now. So most people aren't even working off their computers anymore. They're working off their, their tablets, their phones, and all that.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we were talking about during the break is the one thing, the break happened. Also, we're exchanging about, hey, you got this app, you got this app, you got this app. I was speaking over here with the ladies, and we were talking about the fact is you can actually have app overload. You can actually start getting, and I'm just being truthful, everyone gives you the great app that they use, and this goes back to what we talked about. However, you can get app overload, and then you end up using nothing, or none of it works for you, because now you're trying to manage one thing here, sync it up here, work through Outlook here, go through your webmail here. I mean, let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I always tell people, who cares? I have 523 apps on my phone. And so, but if I don't have my foundational apps, and that's what I call them, is Dropbox, Evernote, and my other one is iAnnotate and DocuSign, I can't do my business. So if you took those away from me, I would definitely have a problem. The other apps are just help me with time management, technology, leveraging that. But those are my everyday functionality. I have to have those.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry.
I cluster my must go to apps like DocuSign, Evernote, Dropbox into one cluster, and I can't be without that one.
Yeah, and a lot of websites now are using just browsers that are going to just be mobile friendly. So I think eventually we're going to find that apps are probably going to start going down, and you're going to find just going to websites is going to react to the internet.
Once the websites start to catch up to be mobile friendly and redesign.
I was just going to say that is such a great point, a very salient point, in that as the speed of the web browser, the speed of 4G, et cetera, LTE, all this sort of thing continues to ramp up, there's less need to download an app to install a program on your. It will be, as she said, the browser will be the app, and I definitely believe that. We're WebbyMax, the company we had on at the beginning of the show. We hired them to do a complete rebuild of our website, all for that purpose, so it's mobile friendly. And we're spending a large chunk of money with them for that.
Yeah. The only thing I want to add on to that, where I think the real estate community is going to suffer, and that's why I think we still need a laptop, is the MLS system is not there. And until that gets there, we can't function. And that's, I think, why agents still have to have a PC or a Mac. And then, and that's just a personal comment.
Yeah, I just redesigned had my website redesigned to be more mobile friendly, but like Amy just said, the MLS is behind that, and until they catch up, it's going to be difficult.
Until we get out of tempo, it's probably not going to change.
We can actually download Puffin if they just pay a few bucks and get Puffin on their iPads. Which, by the way, in my personal opinion, the iPad is the best tablet to have. I know that the Androids is out there, and for the vertical of real estate, iPads are the best. If there's a realtor out there that's looking to buy a tablet, I'm nothing against using Android tablets. I use an Android phone, okay? But for a tablet, there's nothing like an iPad, nothing. So if you're going to buy one, guys, you please buy an iPad and go to the Mac store and buy it.
Right. When I
Rob, I think that's iPad was mentioned 6 times at $25 each.
They're definitely getting an invoice. They got the money.
I agree with
sending it over to Apple.
I agree with Desi. The minute I bought my iPad, my business took off. I was free. I was mobile. I was able to function in the field much more easily, and just from a time perspective, it enabled me to get a lot done in one day.
I had a student in my class last week. I almost fell out of my chair that told me she has given up every desktop and PC she has in her office and at home, and all she uses to run her business now is her iPad because she got tired of using the crashing of her computers and the viruses. And I said, how do you manage just running your entire business just on your iPad? She says, well, you know what? I'm figuring it out because I'm just tired of the slowness of the PC and all that. She says, everything I do now is through my app and my iPad.
The only thing I want to add on to the iPad there for you guys, a lot of people are looking, you guys mentioned about doing the buying it at the store. I work with a lot of app developers across the country, and when they're developing anything for real estate industry, it is normally for the iPad first.
Correct.
Then down the road for the Droid tablet. Most of them, when I ask, are they going to ever develop for the Microsoft Surface and that platform at all, they say no, that's not on their radars at all. So if somebody's looking for a Surface tablet, I saw on the stream of Facebook somebody asking a question last night on Facebook, should I buy a Surface? And when somebody's in a class of mine with a Surface tablet, a lot of the stuff I talk about, how do we leverage technology in real estate, I can't help them as much.
No, and eventually we'll get there. We'll get there where browsers will be the main place, but we're just not there yet. Not there yet. So, again, I think that's an investment that you just can't get around when you're in this industry. You have to have a tablet and you have to learn how to use it.
One thing that's happened to me, and I'll tell you with the new iPhone 6 Plus, so if you look, I went from a Mac to the MacBook Pro to the MacBook Air to the iPad 1 to the iPad 2 to the iPad 3 to the iPad Air. And now, I used to carry, and Rob knows this, I used to carry this around. Now I do all my business in the palm of my hand, on the 6 Plus, because I can actually do everything. I'll show up to client's house. Did you bring anything? Absolutely. I brought everything I need to do your application right here to get everything done. I can email things out immediately. So, one of the things that technology is becoming is you have to find what works best for you. And that technology obviously changes over a period of time, but you have to make sure it's something that functions for that individual, not only the apps, but how you use those apps and where you use them on.
One of the most important things to remember, too, from the real estate industry is that if you look at your statistics when people go to your websites, when they're looking at your email newsletters and all that, your click-throughs are coming through mobile devices, not through people going on computers and laptops. So that is very, very important. I mean, think about your own lifestyle. How do you access things? Are you going home and going, wait, I'll just wait until I get home to go check that out? No.
You know, the crazy thing for me is that I definitely have showed my signs of age at times because I'm like, I don't want to research things on my phone. I like a big screen. I want the real estate on the screen. I hate looking and spending time researching stuff on the web, but that's me, and I have to accept that I'm not the normal user in that sense.
No, Joe, that's a good point, but I'm laughing about that. Have you guys seen the preview for the new Zillow ad that's coming out?
Mm-mm.
Great one coming out, and I work on the National Association Consumer
So we
Communications
can send
Committee.
Zillow an invoice too, right?
And it is touching. I work trying to get us to redoing our commercials with Realtor.com and Realtor.org. Well, Zillow just beat us to the punch once again. And I don't want to open that can of worms, but one thing I wanted to ask you guys is you bringing up that you want to see it on this big screen. So the question is, what do you guys see as consumers? Do you feel it's multi-generational now? Like, I always used to hear, well, my older clients don't want to do that. And my personal experience, I'm seeing my older clients know a ton about, they're sitting there with their iPads, they may be retirees, and they know a lot about their devices. And so I just want to see, do you guys still think it's generational when you're doing real estate or doing with your clients, or do you think those borders have been really thinned now?
My answer to that's one of my favorite answers is it depends. You really do have an age group that they got to a certain point, they made a decision they're not going to be get into technology. But I ran into someone there the other day, 85 years old, loves technology. Got an iPad, got it all.
It does depend, because that's why it's important for the realtor to ask their client at the first meeting, how do you want to communicate? How are you finding homes? What's your favorite tool of choice? What's your favorite tool? So it isn't generational. I have people of all ages embracing technology and people of all generations not wanting to deal with technology.
And I met a millennial the other day, doesn't like Facebook, doesn't like social media. And I thought, wow, that's really unusual.
Well, and that's, what's sort of funny what I'm seeing, and I use my father who's, 72, 73 as an example. He loves to keep up with technology. He's not necessarily the best at it, but he loves to keep up with it. He texts me a lot. He'll get on Facebook and answer me certain things. He tries to really keep up with it right there. I'm actually seeing that the newer generation, you mentioned the millennials, those are the ones that are saying, I'm not doing Facebook anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to, and I'm a big believer is everyone, as you mentioned, Rob, it depends. Everyone has a way it needs to be communicated. The one universal language, and I tell this to everybody all the time, the one universal language that will stay tried and true no matter what you do is the physical face-to-face.
Absolutely.
That, no matter what technology we bring on board, no matter what apps we have on our phone,
FaceTime?
nothing will ever replace face-to-face.
Well,
exactly.
you can do FaceTime. Skype.
FaceTime, right?
FaceTime.
Hangout.
Great going,
Hangouts,
guys. Yeah.
yes.
But that's the one thing I tell everybody, the pressing of palms, I'm a very physical individual, so I hug all the ladies.
Have a palm app for that?
Abrazo all the guys, yeah.
Put your hand up to the phone, I'll put my hand up to the phone.
Is that right there? Oh, yes. But that physical aspect is the one thing I still say that we need to be careful we never lose that, and I don't think we ever will, because remember, at the end of the day, we're all humans. Humans are built on a lot of our sensory, our senses that we've got, and that means we have to smell and touch and feel, that individual, and that's
Feel you?
This is supposed to be a G-rated program.
Okay. Whoa, Amy, what is that right there? Be careful. Okay, well, I opened up Pandora's box
Yes,
for
you
the
did.
touch. Yes,
Good
but
time for a break.
time flies when you're having fun, and we are up against a break all over again. So stay tuned. One more segment. We'll be right back.
So